A luxury hotel stay comes with an expectation of privacy. You hand over your passport, your credit card, your personal details, and trust that everything is protected. But for years, that trust was quietly broken. Between 2014 and 2018, attackers gained access to one of the largest hotel reservation systems in the world and remained undetected. By the time the breach was discovered, the personal data of up to 5 million guests had been exposed. Names, addresses, phone numbers, passport details, and even travel histories were taken. The company at the center of all of it was Marriott International. This is the story of the Marriott Starwood data breach, one of the largest and most sophisticated cyber intrusions ever uncovered. To understand how this happened, it helps to look at the scale of Marriott's global operation. Marriott International operates thousands of properties across the world, spanning multiple luxury and business hotel brands. These include Sheraton, Westin, St. Regis, and W hotels, each serving millions of guests every year. Behind the scenes, these hotels rely on complex reservation systems to manage bookings, customer profiles, and loyalty programs. One of those systems belonged to Starwood Hotels and Resorts. In 2016, Marriott acquired Starwood in a deal worth over $13 billion, expanding its footprint into one of the largest hospitality networks on the planet. But hidden inside that acquisition was a serious problem. Attackers had already infiltrated Starwood's reservation database years earlier. The initial breach is believed to have started in 2014. From that point forward, the attackers didn't rush. They moved carefully, avoiding detection at every step. They explored the network, mapped out systems, and identified where valuable data was stored. They escalated privileges, gaining deeper access over time. Instead of triggering alarms, they blended in with normal system activity. This wasn't a smash and grab attack. It was a long-term operation. Quiet, methodical, and precise. Over the course of 4 years, they continuously accessed and copied data from the reservation database. Guest records were extracted in stages, allowing the attackers to remain under the radar. All the while, the system continued operating as if nothing was wrong. No alerts raised, no immediate signs of compromise, just a steady, invisible flow of sensitive information leaving the network. What made this breach especially severe was the type of data that was taken. The attackers accessed full names, email addresses, phone numbers, and home addresses. They also obtained passport numbers for millions of guests. In some cases, encrypted credit card numbers were included. Even more concerning was the inclusion of travel histories and loyalty program data. This created detailed profiles of individual travelers, patterns of movement, preferred destinations, frequency of travel. For an ordinary cybercriminal, that data is valuable. For a nation state or intelligence agency, it's potentially far more useful. Travel records can reveal connections between individuals, business relationships, and government activity. They can show when and where people met, or when and where people meet. They can expose routines and predict future behavior. This transforms a data breach from financial crime into something much more strategic. For years, none of this activity was detected. Then in September 2018, security monitoring tools flagged unusual behavior within the Starwood reservation system. That alert triggered an internal investigation. As analysts dug deeper, they uncovered evidence of unauthorized access. What they found was far worse than expected. The attackers had been inside the system since 2014. They had maintained persistent access across multiple years, silently collecting data. By the time the breach was contained, up to 500 million guest records were potentially affected. It quickly became one of the largest data breaches ever disclosed. The scale alone was staggering, but the implications went even further. Security experts began asking a critical question. Why target hotel reservation data at this scale? Hotels are not just places to stay, they are hubs for international travel. Business leaders, diplomats, military personnel, and government officials frequently pass through global hotel networks. Their travel data can provide insight into meetings, negotiations, and movements across countries. Shortly after the breach became public, investigators and analysts pointed toward the possibility of state-sponsored activity. Some reports suggested links to actors associated with China, though definitive public attribution remained complex. The theory was that this operation may not have been about financial gain at all. Instead, it may have been focused on long-term intelligence collection, a form of digital surveillance carried out through compromised infrastructure. Whether or not attribution is ever fully confirmed, the nature of the attack raised serious concerns across governments and the cybersecurity community. The fallout was immediate and widespread. Regulators launched investigations into how such a large breach could go undetected for so long. Customers demanded accountability for the exposure of their personal data. Marriott faced intense scrutiny over its security practices, particularly around the integration of Starwood systems after the acquisition. In the European Union, regulators issued a significant fine under the General Data Protection Regulation. The penalty totaled £18.4 million. But financial penalties were only part of the damage. The larger impact was a loss of trust. Millions of travelers realized that their personal information had been exposed, in some cases for years, without their knowledge. For many, it changed how they viewed data privacy in the digital age. Cybersecurity professionals highlighted several reasons why this breach stood out. First, the duration. 4 years is an extremely long time for attackers to remain undetected inside a network. It suggests gaps in monitoring, detection, and response capabilities. Second, the sensitivity of the data. Passport numbers and travel histories are far more critical than basic contact information. They can be used for identity theft, tracking, and intelligence gathering. Third, the potential intent behind the attack. This did not resemble typical cybercrime focused on quick financial gain. It showed characteristics of a strategic, long-term operation. The Marriott Starwood breach became a case study in how modern cyber threats operate. It also reinforced several key lessons. Continuous monitoring is essential. Organizations need visibility into their systems at all times, not just periodic checks. Mergers and acquisitions must include deep cybersecurity assessments. Integrating another company's infrastructure without fully understanding its security posture introduces significant risk. Sensitive data must be protected with strong encryption and proper segmentation. Even if attackers gain access, limiting what they can reach is critical. And perhaps most importantly, once attackers enter a network, they don't always act immediately. They can wait, they can observe, they can adapt, and they can remain hidden for far longer than most organizations expect. The Marriott breach revealed a hard truth about cybersecurity. The most damaging attacks are not always loud or immediate. They unfold slowly over time with precision and patience. By the time they are discovered, the impact has already spread across millions of people, and in many cases, the data is already gone. Thank you for watching. You're awesome.